All right, what's going on, everybody? How's it going? So, so the story continues here with these pay-per-view buys, and now the latest narrative is, well, boxing scene is lying. Boxing scene has this hidden agenda because they're owned by Paramount Global, which was formerly CBS Viacom, and the name has changed in 2022 to Paramount Global, right? So now there's this conspiracy that Showtime is lying about these numbers, or Paramount Global, or whoever is affiliated with releasing these numbers, which I'm going to get to in a minute. We're going to get to the bottom of this. But now, all of a sudden, the number that you don't like is false, but the number that you do like is supposedly true and accurate, right? So what this comes down to is basically whoever tells you what you want to hear, they're telling the truth, and whoever tells you what you don't want to hear, they're lying. Simple and plain. That's what it all boils down to here. And again, I don't like Tank Davis. I don't like PBC. I don't have a vested interest in PBC. I don't have a vested interest in Tank Davis. I don't like the guy. I think he's a horrible human being. But facts are facts. I mean, if you look at his pay per view numbers for his last couple fights, he generally gets around 200 to 225,000 pay per view buys. It's pretty much what he's been getting, right? He's been selling out arenas wherever he goes. Generated a $5 million gate. Whether I like the guy or not, the numbers are what the numbers are. So I remember back in the day, boxing scene was always the gold standard, right? People wake up in the morning who have YouTube boxing channels. People from the YouTube boxing community, they wake up in the morning. The first thing they do is they go to boxingscene.com to see what the latest news is. Then they take the latest news and headlines from boxingscene.com and they make videos based off of the boxingscene.com articles, right? People use boxing scene as their main reference. Boxing scene's been around since 2003. It's been around for 20 years now, right? And everyone always believed everything boxing scene said. Oh, it came from boxing scene. It's got to be true. It came from boxing scene. It's got to be true. But now, all of a sudden, the sports become so tribal, right? The sports become so tribal that everybody needs confirmation bias, right? So this is the most visited boxing site in the world, boxingscene.com. And from what I've heard and seen over the years, it's been looked upon as the most reputable boxing site, right? Out of anything out there today, right? It's always been the gold standard, right? And people live and die by this site. If you're a boxing YouTube channel, that's generally everyone's main source of news. Always, right? They have the most writers. They're spread across the world. They're international. They do good work, and they've always done good work until all of a sudden now they're being called into question. So let's take a look at this press release is what I call it, which is what it basically is, right? And once again, Paramount Global, formerly CBS Viacom, owns BoxingScene.com, and they own Showtime as well, right? They own Showtime as well. And Paramount Global is a gigantic company, right? A gigantic company. And they own several things, right? Let's take a look at Paramount Global. Okay. It was formed in 2019 through the merger of Viacom and CBS, and is a subsidiary of National Amusements Incorporated. Originally known as Viacom CBS, the company was renamed Paramount Global in 2022. Its primary holdings are in film and television, including streaming services. Right, so you got Paramount Global, Regal Cinemas, Lowell Cinemas, AMC. I mean, the list goes on and on, right? They're gigantic, right? They're a multi-billion dollar company, right? Multi-billion dollar company. And once again, they're traded. They're traded, in the stock exchange. They're a public company, right? So, as I've said before, if you are a publicly traded company, you cannot release false numbers that are attached to financial information. It's a federal offense. Can't be done, right? So it's illegal for any company affiliated with Paramount Global, right, to release false numbers. It's a federal offense. And once again, 200,000 pay-per-view buys, the $20 million that generated, that's like a drop in the bucket to a company like Paramount Global, right? That would be like you and I losing $5 on a scratch ticket. It's an afterthought to them. So I'm going to look at this, and I'm going to show you some stuff on this press release, right? So Showtime is. I'm going to read this, okay? So Boxing Scene has confirmed that the 4-fight pay-per-view show that featured Davis's 9th-round technical knockout of Hector Luis Garcia on January 7th ultimately will produce somewhere between 200 and 225,000 pay-per-view buys. Davis' previous fight, a 6th-round knockout of Rolly Romero on May 28th at the Barclays, generated slightly less than 250,000 pay-per-view buys, which is in line with what he's been doing, right? So then it says Showtime has distributed each of Davis's 5 pay-per-view main events wins against Garcia, Romero, Isaac Cruz, Mario Barrios, and Leah Santa Cruz. It says the network has aired the popular knockout artist's last 12 fights, either on pay-per-view, live on the network, which is owned by Paramount Global, also the parent company of BoxingScene.com. So let's look at this right here. It says the network has aired the popular knockout artist's last 12 fights either on pay-per-view or live on the network, which is owned by Paramount Global, also the parent company of BoxingScene.com. So again, they made a point to put Paramount Global in this press release, and they also made a point to tell you that they're owned by BoxingScene.com. So people are like, well, why didn't Showtime release their own press release? Why is it being put on Boxing Scene? Well, first of all, Paramount Global, it appears, was the source of this information, in my opinion, because that's why it's actually put in the press release. And it's also mentioned that they're the parent company of BoxingScene.com, right? So it's like PepsiCo, which owns Gatorade. Say they put out a press release in regards to Gatorade, right? PepsiCo is a giant food company. They own Quaker Oats. They own Gatorade. They own a lot of food companies, right? I think General Mills as well, if I'm not mistaken. So Paramount Global is bigger than Showtime. They're the parent company of Showtime. So it would be like PepsiCo releasing a press release about Gatorade or some type of information about Gatorade. Would you turn around and say, well, why didn't Gatorade release that? Why is PepsiCo releasing it? No, you wouldn't question that. So why would Showtime and Steven Espinosa have to release the information when the parent company is actually giving you the information instead? So they went one better, and they got and Paramount Global are basically using Boxing Scene, which is what they own. It's their boxing site, right? So why would they not use Boxing Scene to release the information? No one ever questioned Boxing Scene before, right? No one ever questioned Boxing Scene before, so why are they questioning it now? So Paramount Global is in this press release. So do you think Boxing Scene would put Paramount Global would put Paramount Global in this press release without their consent, right? And you think they'd also mention that they're owned by Paramount Global? This just adds credibility to this press release. This just reinforces the strength of this press release that Paramount Global is actually mentioned in here. And it's not by accident. Pretty much is telling you, not in so many words, that Paramount Global is the source. Oh, but why didn't Stephen Espinosa doesn't have to say anything. Paramount Global trumps Stephen Espinosa. He outranks Stephen Espinosa. Publicly traded company, but they're going to lie about 200,000 pay-per-view buys. But you're going to believe Rick Glaser. Rick Glaser's telling the truth. There's 445 cable companies in the United States, notwithstanding digital media platforms as well as satellite companies. And Rick Glaser is going to tell you that he got the numbers in 2 days by some lawyer who works in the television industry. How vague is that television industry? Well, what part of the television industry, Rick? Because there's 445 cable companies in the United States. And you're talking about one lawyer. Who is that lawyer? Why not release the lawyer? Why not tell us the lawyer's name? The lawyer doesn't have to give up his source. Why not tell us who that lawyer is? But no, everyone wants to believe. What is more credible? A source like Paramount Global or fucking Rick Glaser? Ask yourselves that question. Ask yourselves that fucking question. Who's more credible? Paramount Global, who is actually mentioned in this press release. The network has aired the popular knockout artist's last 12 fights either on pay-per-view or live on the network, which is owned by Paramount Global, also the parent company of BoxingScene.com. Why would they put that in there? Why would they name drop Paramount Global in this press release? Why? And this is a press release. Make no mistake about it. It is a press release. So I don't know what to tell you guys. If you want to believe Rick Glaser because you like the fact that he tells you what you want to hear, if that's what you want to believe, then go ahead. I'm going to believe Paramount Global, who is a publicly traded company who is legally bound to tell the truth, where Rick Glaser doesn't have to tell the truth. Rick Glaser doesn't have to tell the truth. He could tell you anything he wants, right? And he's been wrong multiple times. This is a guy who was a matchmaker from 1999 to 2014. And he's been part of 23 events in 15 years, roughly one event a year. He's burned so many bridges in the industry. Ask anyone in the industry about Rick Glaser, and they'll tell you, to tell you just how credible the guy is. He's a bullshit artist, guys. He just wants attention. He just wants attention. So it is what it is. I'm not a big platform at all. I'm not a big platform at all. So, and I don't pretend to be, but I'm going to believe Paramount Global, because once again, let's put two and two together, right? Paramount Global is a publicly traded company, and I repeat that, and I'll say it a million times just to get it through people's heads. And they own BoxingScene.com. So do you think they're going to allow Boxing Scene, right, to put out false information, which is attached to financial data? Again, all you got to do is read this press release. And then you could say, well, Beeb, why are they saying 200K to 225K? Because once again, it doesn't take 2 days to add all these up. Right? Doesn't take 2 days to add all this up. Then when all the digital buys come in, and once again, as D-Style explained to you, when you buy it off your remote, right away that buy does not get counted. These guys, Paramount Global is actually in the television business. All right, it's not some fictitious lawyer that some goofball on Twitter made up. Okay, I'm gonna believe Paramount Global over Rick Glaser. I'm sorry, gonna do it. Publicly traded company, multi-billion-dollar company. I'm going to believe them. I mean, all of a sudden now, Boxing Scene is going to be called into question because they're owned. The fact that they are owned by Paramount Global should make you believe even further that they're telling the truth, because they have to tell the truth, because they can't lie, because they're publicly traded. It's not like Dana White can say whatever he wants, because UFC is not a publicly traded company. Top Rank's not a publicly traded company. Those guys don't have to tell the truth because they're not publicly traded. It's a federal law that someone who is a company that is publicly traded cannot put out false information in regards to financial numbers. They can't. Yes, sir.
Hello, how you doing today, Beeb?
What's going on, buddy?
Yeah, man, this topic is like really kind of sketchy because I hear what you're saying. I was hearing like maybe that because remember when Isaac Cruz fought Tank Davis, and it was on a Sunday, and the buys were only like 50,000. So that's my range. When I think of a Tank pay-per-view,
that's not true. That's not true either. That's not what it was. Read this press release. It's got Paramount Global in this press release, who is a multi-billion-dollar company. They say what his last couple events did. And Boxing Scene made a point to say this website is owned by Paramount Global as well as Showtime. It's written in this press release. It says Showtime has distributed each of Davis's 5 pay-per-view main events wins against Garcia, Romero, Isaac Cruz. And it says the Rolly Romero fight. It said the Rolly Romero fight did 250,000 pay-per-view buys, and I believe the Isaac Cruz one did 225. He's been consistently doing. He's been consistently doing in the 200,000 range, bro.
Wow.
He just did a $5 million gate, bro. A $5 million gate.
That was DC though.
Again, only in DC. Imagine if he's in Vegas, what he's going to do. That's a small arena. That arena's never generated a $5 million gate. Never.
Well, the arena he was in with Isaac Cruz, they had to curtain off an area because they couldn't fill the place up on a Sunday, right?
Again, I don't know. Are you getting this off of Twitter, or are you getting this off of
No. I was watching the event, and they did curtain off the top section of the Staples Center, because that's where they fought at, I think. They fought at the Staples Center, I think, on a Sunday. Isaac Cruz, and they curtained it off.
Let's look at it. Davis Cruz live gate. I don't like Tank Davis. I'm not a Tank Davis fan, bro. There's no way I'm going to cape for this dude.
And I get it. I'm just sketchy about the numbers because I think they kind of blow them up. But I did hear that.
Listen to this. It generated. There was 14,686 people and it generated approximately $2.6 million.
At the Staples Center?
That's what it's saying here. And guess
Damn.
where it's at? Guess where I got the article from?
Where?
Boxing Scene. Again,
Scene.
Paramount owns Boxing Scene. Paramount Global cannot lie. And they're not gonna and they're not gonna let Boxing Scene put their name in the art. Why do you think Boxing Scene dropped that name in there? It's the source. Paramount Global is the source.
Yeah. People just want to hear it from Showtime, but I get it. Like, that's a part of the parent company. So they could do that because it's credible. I hear what you're saying. And it's like, it's just the fact is that Tank is the American star. But it's just hard for me to believe it because I was thinking he was only doing like 50,000 pay-per-view buys.
Think if he was doing 50,000 at 75 bucks a pop, right? Let's just do that math. Right? Times 75. That's 3 million, right? That's 3,750,000. Well, no, I actually want. Let me see something here.
Boxing is a circus to me.
Yeah,
he ain't got no belt. He ain't got no belts. He doing all of that. It's an exhibition fight to me. I'd rather see the stars get that type of pay-per-view buys than the actual exhibition boxers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd like to see that too.
Old school. I'm old school, Dan the Man. You know what I mean? That's how I think. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I'm
the same way, man.
Here's the thing. I think if he did 50,000 pay-per-view buys, right?
Yeah.
That times that by 7, that's like $3.7 million, right? In pay-per-view revenue.
Yeah.
Think about it. I mean, that's crazy. That would be less than the gate.
Well, how come he getting paid so less? How come he getting paid less than the guy? I feel like the corporation is getting the money, not him. I feel like the shareholders are getting the money, not him. I don't feel like Tank is a higher paid athlete, even though he's doing all the numbers.
Let me ask you this, bro. And this is just you answer this question wherever you want. Don't let me influence.
I don't pocket watch, but I'm just saying, like,
I do pocket watch. I like money. I'm a man. I'm about money, bro. We're men, right? This is what we're about. It's part of who we are. We're men. Status, money gives us status. Men are judged by our status. It's the way it is, bro. I am about money. I do pocket watch. I don't hate, but I do pocket watch. I like following business. That's just what I do. So if you think about it, right? He's making about $4 million a fight, which is nothing to sneeze at, right? So if you're making $4 million a fight, with all due respect, to fight a guy like Hector Garcia, what's wrong with that? Yeah. I mean, when you look at the difficulty of the opponent, these other guys like Haney fighting Kambosos making $3 million. That's a much tougher fight. He's out earning these guys making and he's getting paid $4 million to do it. So $4 million, exactly. $4 million twice. That's $8 million a year, bro. I don't know about you, man. If I'm making $8 million a year, I'm gonna be happy with that.
Yeah. Yeah,
we'll let you jump in.
He's a prize fighter. He's a prize fighter. I'll give him that. He's a prize fighter because he has the audience. He commands the audience because he's like a little Mike Tyson, but he's not fighting the guys that I want him to see where I feel like he can earn that purse.
And you know what, Ron? That's the problem. If people are so mad, right? Because they have to pay $75 to see him fight Hector Garcia. They're mad about that. And because they're mad, guess what? They want all his pay-per-views to fail, and I get that. So they love to see a story like he only did 61,000 buys. They love to hear that, but it's just not true. Dan, go ahead, bro.
Shout out to you guys, B. Hey, long time no hear, man. So,
how you doing, brother? Nice to hear from you, man. Happy New Year.
Likewise, you too, Ron Fink. Long time no see here, brother.
What's good, the man? Dan the man, what's good?
I'm good, brother. I'm good.
I watch your channel, Little Penny. I'll be watching you sometime.
Yeah. Yeah, I try to get on there when I can, man. But yeah, I wanted to chime in on the Tank Davis thing. But yeah, let me just say this though. I'm not gonna say that he's a mega star as most people try to make him out to be. That's simply not true. However, he is a decent draw, so you got to give him credit there because he does draw very well at the gate. But as far as the pay-per-view numbers is concerned, I am with Beba on this one because first things first. Showtime, well, boxing scene is owned by a publicly traded company, and under certain federal laws and regulations, they cannot fudge those numbers. They cannot manipulate that because that is against the law. Otherwise, if they'd done so, they would be sued by shareholders and by the SEC. So they got to watch out for that, or they could be criminally prosecuted. So a la accounting fraud like Enron or MCI WorldCom back in the day many years ago, because you never heard of those companies. But I digress. But anyhow. Rick Glazer, look, if you think he's a credible source, that's your prerogative. But I will say this though, he has to take it into account. Why does he always have contradictory figures? Because I remember when he tried to, when he came out first initially, I fell for this too many years ago, when he was the first to report that Golovkin and Lemieux did 88,000 pay-per-view buys. And then as soon as that number came out, a lot of people jumped on that just to tear down Golovkin and his draw power. But then as soon as after Glazer came out, HBO at the time, which is owned by Time Warner, came out and released their figures of 150 or 170,000 buys.
Exactly.
And that right there, and Glazer was questioned on this too. I think I remember having I think I asked this question via a third party about this. Why is your number contradictory to theirs? Can you prove that they are reporting false, incorrect data? And then all of a sudden, this came about digital buys, wasn't taken into account, yada, yada, yada. So basically, there was a little bit of backtracking right there. So,
Dan, let me ask you this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm reading the press release off BoxingScene.com, and Paramount's name is in this article. Do you think Paramount which owns Boxing Scene, you think they're going to allow them to use their name in the press release? And you think they made a point to put their name in there for a reason? Because that's the source.
Yeah, I mean, first of all,
That's
Paramount they wouldn't permit that if they can't validate those numbers.
Paramount again, they're not going to allow them to put their name in that press release.
No, they're not going to allow that because at the end of the day, at the end of the day, before these articles get printed, it goes through an editor at large, and he or she looks at it before they put out the final print of the story. If everything checks out, if they give a thumbs up and approval for all the sources that's been corroborated, then yeah, that's when the story gets released. But again, going back to Rick Glazer, if he's going to come out and dispute these numbers, then he's got to prove it. You can't just say, "Oh, I have a source that disfigured his number." That disproves what Paramount put out. Oh, really? If so, that's a very serious accusation against a publicly traded company. Now, unless you have evidence of that, please share it to us.
Why not give us the lawyer? Why not give us the lawyer's name? Why not give us the lawyer's name?
Give us the name of your source.
The lawyer has connections to someone in the television industry. Oh, that's that.
I mean, how many lawyers doesn't have any connections to in the television industry? Come on.
How big is a television? There's 445 cable companies in the United States. 445. So you're affiliated with 445 cable. Penny, help me out here, please.
I don't know, man.
I know you're laughing here. Make sense of this. I am an idiot. I never said I was the brightest bulb on the Christmas tree.
Can I say something, Little Penny? Before you go, Little Penny, let me just say this real quickly. I do find it kind of strange that Glazer is like the first one to jump on these figures with every PBC event. I find that very.
I don't like PBC either.
Yeah, I know. I find that very strange, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I just find it very strange that every chance he gets, he jumps on this and he reports these so-called low figures. But yet he doesn't do that with other networks. So I kind of find that very weird. But you can go ahead. I digress. But you can go ahead, Penny. Jump in, man.
Yeah, Bibbs. When he first reported, it was 66,000 or
61.
whatever he said.
61.
Yeah, I thought it was a little low because usually hardcore boxing, there are probably around 200,000 hardcore boxing fans that would immediately buy the pay-per-view, no matter who is fighting, even if it's a crap pay-per-view. You're gonna get at least 150, 200 because they're hardcore boxing fans, right?
He's been consistently doing 200,000 pay-per-view buys. He's been consistently doing it, and the opponents have pretty much been the same.
Yeah,
and I'm gonna just say this, and I don't like the guy. I don't, but based off the opponents he's fighting, these should be all Showtime fights. We all agree on that. They should not be pay-per-views. But based on the opponents he's fighting, the 200 to 250,000 pay-per-view buy range is not bad, but considering the guys he's fighting, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Hey, Bibbs, with this Ryan Garcia, Tank Davis. I want to see this fight.
It's not happening. It's dead in the water. The fight's dead in the water. But go ahead.
Yeah,
Is it?
because boxing needs a mega fight based on two young fighters. I think we haven't seen one since maybe De La Hoya Trinidad. Maybe
Yeah, it's
that
good.
was a long-
That's a good point. That's a good
That
point.
was a long
This-
time ago, right?
yeah.
In the early 20s. But I think Tank doesn't have a case with his hit and run thing that he did. Because
He's doing time, bro.
The
He's
woman
doing
is
time.
pregnant, right? That's not going to look good in court because the plaintiff can he can manipulate that word.
He's
in front
going
of the
away,
jury.
bro. There's no doubt about it. He's going away, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
So what
He's
Tank
going away.
needs to do is pay her off, right? Pay
It's not
her
going to
off
work. He can't pay her off now because the judge rejected the plea deal. He
Exactly.
cannot
Oh,
pay
no.
her off. He's
Exactly.
done. He is going away bare minimum 6 months. And here's another thing people don't know. The domestic violence case is still being investigated because the prosecutor is still looking at the evidence. This guy,
Yeah.
and then here, that's a slap in the face too. Here's the thing, man. He paid off 3 of the victims, right? And he tried to pay off the lady that was pregnant. And she said no. And then the judge heard her testimony and was so moved by her testimony. When the judge rejects a plea deal, right off the bat, she's saying to herself, this guy's doing time. And they were supposed to, and they did a continuance. He's going back to court in I think it's February 16th, if I'm not mistaken. And he was supposed to go back in December. And his lawyer asked for a continuance. So they know what's going on here. They're trying to drag this out. They know he's going in. He's going in. And then in the interim, while that was all going on, then he does the domestic violence bullshit. This guy has issues. He is not a good human being. Punches people at ATM machines. He thinks he can just punch people whenever he gets mad and throw $200,000, $250,000 at him like he did with the guy he punched in the ATM machine.
But
He's crazy.
In defense, there's a lot of football players that do bad things too. It's not just boxing. So you know what I mean?
Again, we're not giving anyone a pass on this channel.
I only
We make
follow
videos
boxing,
about all of them.
and he fucked up.
Yeah.
We make videos about all of them. Dana White's is a scumbag too. You think I like that guy?
So Beeps, if they go to court, right, that woman, that pregnant woman and Tank, in the middle of, and say, for example, the woman says, hey, judge, you know what, I'll take his $5 million, whatever. Can he do that? And
Can't do it now. The plea's been rejected.
It's past that. It's past
Past
that.
that, bro.
Yo, Penny,
you
did
wanted
you
to
see?
see this fight,
You
Penny.
want to create
So
these Alice in Wonderland,
Little
scenarios, Penny. It's not
Little
happening,
Penny.
bro. He's
Did
going in.
you see
Go
him
ahead,
crash
Brad.
into the? Did you see him crash into the fence and all the smoke was everywhere? And she said that he kind of looked at her and left. That's
Left.
evidence.
She begged him to help. She's like, help me. And he fucking looks at, like, people want to compare this to the John Jones incident, right? John Jones pled guilty and he apologized.
Okay,
This guy is pleading not guilty.
Beeps. What if Ryan? What if Tank Davis changes his mind and on the arraignment he says I'll plead guilty? What happens then? Can he shorten or can he make a deal if he pleads
He had a
guilty?
chance to show. He had plenty of time to show remorse, little Penny. Everything, all bets are off now. All bets. I know.
Beeps. The arraignment hasn't happened yet, right?
No, it's going to trial. I think it's at the trial.
It's going to trial, little Penny.
Oh, right.
It's going to trial. Everything that could have been
and
done.
Anytime a judge decides to say, you know what, we're gonna bypass all of this, that means that he's accepting what the lady said, and he's gonna just take it to trial. Like it's a wrap, yo. He's going to jail,
a wrap, bro. He's going to jail, man.
Damn, I wanted to see that fight.
He's
too.
going to
That
jail.
would be big as
See
well.
how you are? See how you boxing fans are?
In his favor, though, Beeb, I think they said that he never had a prenuptial agreement. Like, you know how when you ever get in trouble before, I don't know if Tank ever been in trouble and had a criminal case before, but when you don't have a criminal case ever in your life, they do give you like a situation where as though it's your first time offender type.
He's facing 7 years max. I'm telling you, I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt. I think he's going to do 6 months.
Yeah.
I think so too.
I'm not saying they're gonna. It's
his first offense, right? Like technically.
Well, he's been arrested.
Well, I don't know.
He's been arrested for several things, bro. He's got a rap sheet, but he hasn't been. I don't believe, and I haven't
A
heard that
felony.
he
Yeah,
has.
but it's not like
he has
it's not
any
like he robbed
felonies.
a bank or anything, or he, you know what I mean. It's not.
But that's a
those
hit and
rap
run,
sheets,
bro.
they're
That's
not
like
they're not
reckless
like a
driving,
Jack
hit
the
and
Ripper
run,
murdered
Penny.
someone. So
Penny,
endangering a child.
this lady was
14
injured
charges.
so badly she had to get her gallbladder removed.
yeah.
Damn.
Yes,
She
yes,
was
That's
pregnant.
yes. Yes.
The civil suit to follow that. The
I
civil
think
suit to
this is-
follow that.
This is a big deal,
Uh,
bro.
Yeah. What
This
a
is a
pity.
big
deal,
man.
man.
Damn, man. What a pity. That pay-per-view could have done at least 750. Tank versus
What about
Ryan
this?
Garcia.
What about this poor woman's gallbladder, little Penny?
Oh, that's
You
true.
know
That's
what?
true.
That's
I agree.
lost
Little
forever.
I was
Penny.
talking about boxing
That's
just
lost
now.
forever.
Little Penny,
Please.
it's sad when we got. It's sad when we got to watch a Prospect Elite pay per view. Like that part sucks, and it's going to do
Yeah.
750,000. They making us thirsty for a fucking matchup. That's sad.
Because Ronald, we also missed out on the Pacquiao Mayweather Prime, the Kell Brook Khan Prime, while the AJ hasn't even happened yet. I think while Bud Crawford Spence as well hasn't happened yet. Brutes and Virgil Ortiz hasn't happened yet. Probably won't happen
Exactly.
in next. You know what I mean? It's like, Jesus, what are these?
It's like they feed you
boxing-
crumbs. They feed you crumbs for pay per view, exhibition pay per views, Prospect Elite pay per views. They feed you crumbs.
As
This is what
Beam
you
said
get.
yesterday, we want or earlier today, we want Don King back. At least that guy,
Yeah.
he puts on great pay-per-views, and the undercard's quite good too. I remember. I think Pacquiao was in that Lennox Lewis.
Yeah, but he don't have any fighters. He don't have any fighters anymore,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
Stable.
Yeah,
stable,
Don
strong,
King
bro.
used to put like Terry Norris on the undercards of Chavez Jr. or
Yeah.
Mike Tyson fights. I remember one undercard that he put. It was stacked. I think it was Julio Cesar Chavez
Hey,
Jr.
that-
versus
that-
Greg Ogden, right? I
Hey,
think it was that
Pac-
card.
Pacquiao Lebwaba, which was for the lineal 122 fight, that was on the undercard of the Lennox Lewis Mike Tyson
Wow.
fight.
Oh yeah, oh yeah,
Dropping
yeah. In
jewels.
fact, one of the undercards he put Julian Jackson and Jerry McClellan on the undercard of I think it was Julio Cesar Chavez and Greg Ogden. I think it was that fight, but he put that on the undercard. He also put Lennox Lewis versus Tony Tucker on the undercard too for the heavyweight title. So those were two fights right there: Jerry McClellan and Julian Jackson, and Lennox Lewis and Tony Tucker on the undercard of Julio Cesar Chavez and Greg Ogden.
Yeah.
So that
Hey,
was
Danny, man, this speaking of yesteryear, right? Remember when Pacquiao he fought Barrera, right? He won.
Yeah.
He became a star. Then he fought Marquez. Great fight. In fact, it was fight of the year, right? He wasn't
Yeah.
a superstar. He was still a star, right? Then he fought Morales, right? For his first pay-per-view, right? He lost, right? He lost, right? His next, or not his next fight, but in the next couple of fights, he actually fought on Eric Morales' undercard when Morales fought that he had like an Arabic last name, I can't remember, but he actually fought on his undercard. Mind you, Pacquiao was already like a pay-per-view fighter. He wasn't a pay-per-view star, a pay-per-view fighter. Yet he was willing to fight on Eric Morales' undercard because he lost, right? Like sometimes boxers, they need to stack some of these cards, man. Because I haven't bought a pay-per-view since on a regular basis, right?
Yeah.
I did buy the Kambosos Haney rematch because I went to the actual fight in their first
Right.
fight. But I haven't bought a pay-per-view on a regular basis since Pacquiao beat Thurman.
Oh
Because I'm not
man.
paying $70 for
I
like
almost bought Tank's undercard because it was stacked. But those were just all the relevant fighters that I wanted to see fight somebody, but they weren't fighting their actual.
yeah,
draw,
no,
like
but Ronald,
Mark
you're
Carter.
talking about when you say stacked, some of those fights they're like it's the 100 to 1. There's so much. I want to see at least 75-25 matchup or 60-40. At least, you know what I mean?
60-40 something, at least 60-40.
Yeah.
You see how bad I am? I don't even like Tank, and I buy all his pay-per-views because I'm just so
You're a good
sick
man,
with these.
Beans.
I'm such a bad person, man, because I can't stop watching boxing, man. That's how much of a loser I am.
I
I don't
like that,
even
Beans.
like the guy. I don't even like the guy, and I buy every single one of his pay-per-views.
But we
I'm
don't
part
have
of
to
the
like
problem.
them. Beebs, we
I'm
don't have to
part of
like
the
them.
problem.
We just like the sport, Beebs. We don't have to like them.
I'm
Like
part of the problem. I support this guy. He's
Beebs,
not a
I
good
didn't
person.
like that. Beebs, you remember that Atlanta Falcons quarterback? What was his name? Michael Vick. I didn't like him
Yeah.
either as a man, but I liked him as a football player. Though my God, that guy was must-watch
He
TV.
He was amazing to watch. Run up and down the field or like throw a
Yeah.
pass on
And
a
throw as
fucking
well.
on a release. Like he was excellent to
By
watch.
the
He
way,
was
shout out to
entertaining.
Eric Lauder. What's it called? Cincinnati Bengals. I think they beat the Bills today. So,
Oh,
damn,
okay. I don't watch football. Oh, the Bills. I'm glad that guy's okay, man. That was like
Yeah.
a sad story. I'm
Yeah.
glad he's okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yo, Beeb, I just wanted to come in for a second, man. I
No
appreciate
problem,
you.
brother. I appreciate you stopping by, man. Nice to hear you. Happy
All
New Year, man.
all
Nice
right,
to hear
little
from you,
penny
man.
peace.
All right, man. Hey, Beeps, I command you for like telling the truth about some of these tank devs because, dude, man, you're getting. I can hear because I hear this or because I'm on some other live streams. Sometimes it's hard to defend you, bro. Like I try to like on a because I can see where you're coming from, right? And it has to be told, and it's because you and Maestro too, man. Damn, like he's getting a lot of hate too on the other side, but you and Maestro, you guys, and in fact,
Why do these other guys calling me out?
yeah, but Maestro especially, bro, because
They call us out. These other channels.
yeah, because they think that you guys are like racist or like you don't like Tank and blah blah blah.
Oh, the
I
tank.
keep telling
Oh, the
them,
tank. The tank defenders. Yeah, they don't like us.
Yeah, but I keep telling them, no. They don't. I actually told them that they don't hate Tank. They're just telling the truth, and it's okay if they tell.
I don't hate Tank, but I don't like him either. I don't like him.
Yeah.
I don't think he's a good person.
Yeah, because you guys are just impartial, and when you're being impartial, you take race out of it. I told them that if Tank was white, you guys would say the same thing.
I don't like Conor. I don't like Conor McGregor as a person. I don't think he's a good person either.
A lot of these act though, Beebs. Like
I don't like him.
You gotta take it with a grain of salt.
He punched an old man at a bar in the face. I don't like the. I don't like. And then the selfish bastard throws a dolly at a bus, not even caring about the people in that bus, how badly he could have injured them. I don't like the guy.
But Beast, when me and you were young, right, and we went to the bar, right, there was a lot of fights there. I mean, like hitting a guy in a bar, it's not foreign.
Penny,
it happens all the time.
Penny, you're making me nervous right now. You're not going to sit there and haul off on a 60-something-year-old guy, Penny. You're not going to do it. You're not going to do it, Penny. Please. I don't like Conor McGregor. I don't like Dana White either. I don't like the way he treats the fighters. I don't like what he did to Ariel Helwani. Ariel Helwani is like it's probably arguably the best MMA analyst, not analyst, but best MMA reporter, I should say. Excuse me.
Hey, Beebs,
in the business.
Beebs, remember when Pacquiao had Miguel Cotto and they had a press conference at Yankee Stadium, and Ariel interviewed Bob Arum, right? And he asked him what he thought of MMA, and Bob Arum said that famous words. He's saying, "Oh, MMA is like the only white people watch it." Blah. Remember that line? That was and Ariel Helwani actually, in front of Bob, he actually defended MMA. Like
he said,
if you actually watched that full video, they were going at it.
Let me let Kangaroo Kid in, man. What you got for us today, man? How you doing, brother?
Hey, he's gone. How are you, baby? How are you, little Penny?
Hey, man.
What's up, man?
I just wanted to see what your thoughts are on Tony Harris and Tim Tszyu.
Oh, I was gonna ask you that, man. That's a tough fight for Tim Tszyu, man. Tony Harrison is a good fighter, man. He's the real deal, bro. He's a real deal.
It's in Australia too. We'll have to catch up, little Penny.
Really? I'll try.
It's in Australia, bro.
Is that confirmed?
Oh yeah, that fight's confirmed. I didn't know it was in Australia though.
Yeah, it's in Australia, bro.
Oh,
Tim's
wow.
on his way home now.
Hey, Kangaroo Kid. Hey, Donaire versus
Jason Maloney.
Maloney. That will be in Australia too, I think.
Yeah, man.
Jesus.
Yeah,
you guys are killing it, man.
Yeah, we're turning up, baby.
Gone.
We're turning up, bro, and turning out.
Good for you guys, man.
Yeah.
Harrison's a good fighter, man. He can box.
Yeah, he is. He's got a good jab. He's got a great jab.
He beat what's his name? Charlo,
yeah.
Jamel in the first fight.
Yeah, he did, and then he got his ass handed to him in the second one.
He was winning.
What'd you guys think of that Ebony Bridges Shannon fight?
Man, Shannon, I actually know a bit of history about Shannon. She's got no cartilage in her right shoulder.
Her shoulder's done.
She's she's
She's
quit
got
now.
surgery on it. She got shoulder replacement surgery recently.
Yeah, she probably won't fight again, man.
No, she's
Oh.
done. She's done.
Yeah, she's all over.
Ebony is
Which
done.
is sad, man.
Oh, she's done. She is done.
Ebony
She
Bridges.
can't fight
All
again.
over. All over.
Oh,
No
Ebony-
more boxing.
Yeah, Ebony Bridge. I got to give Ebony Bridges credit, man. She's looked good her
Man,
last
she's
two
tough.
fights.
She's tough.
Yeah, she's a
She's
warrior, man. Remember when
she's
she
from
had her
Western
eye
Yeah,
against
and her
Shannon
hand.
Courtney, and she kept on going. Whereas Dubois against
Whoa,
Joyce.
come on now. That guy had a retinal bleed, man. You come on. Don't start
And I-
dumping on
oh.
Dubois like Eric. Don't do what Eric did, man. Please. The guy, his eye fell back in his socket. Come on, that's a different injury. Come on.
But she's female though, man. Like it's like
It's different injury. Different injury.
Okay, all right, okay.
Please.
I just remember at that time everyone was comparing.
Everyone's
the two.
dumping on Dubois, man. They just shitting all over that poor guy, man. That
I
guy.
know. It's a
guy-
boxing family too. His sister
Yeah.
can fight too.
And then give him credit, man. He blew out his ACL in his last fight, and he ended up coming back and knocking the dude out with a torn ACL. Like, I gotta give.
Yeah, because he
And,
probably
and he went 11 rounds. He went 11 rounds with Joe Joyce.
If he quit again, right, his career would have been.
You guys are harsh, man. You guys are really harsh. I feel bad for the guy, man. I feel bad for the guy.
Yeah, I think that hopefully they'll do it at a stadium, Little Penny, and I think Tim will fill it. Tim's got a way bigger following than George.
So you think he can do more than 42,000 and can versus Haney?
100%, 100%.
Of course.
He's got a way bigger following. Little Penny, don't forget, Tim did all his work here in Australia, bro. So he's built his name here in Australia. He's fought everyone he had to fight in Australia. He went over and fought Terrell Gashau.
Hey, Kangaroo Kid, I was in this English boxing podcast yesterday after that fight in Manchester, and they think that Tim Tszyu is overrated, like way overrated.
A lot of people do, but I think he's solid.
Yeah, I think.
Oh, you know, one thing I'll tell you about Tim, man, is one thing with Tim is he blocks out the hate. He is the best at blocking out the hate. He does not give a fat rat's flap over what people think about him. They might think he's got no pop, he's got no power, he's got no jab, he's got nothing. But he's going to be there. He's not a back foot fighter. He comes forward. He's going to be there to be hit, man. But just also
and Kangaroo Kid, I like the fact that Kostya is not like these fathers who you know what I mean. Like
he's not trying to live vicarious. He's not trying to get too involved.
Yeah,
I'll tell you a funny story. I'll tell you a funny story, right? Costa turned up to Tim's first pro fight ever. His first ever pro fight. After that, Tim said, "Dad, I don't want you at my fights anymore. You're too annoying. All I can hear is you." Now, Costa was actually coming back to be at the Jamel Charlo fight. That was the second time he was having his father back since his first fight. So he doesn't normally turn up to his fights, yeah, because Tim doesn't want him there. But yeah, Tim's got him back. I don't know, man. Don't count Tim Tszyu out. That's all I can say.
Tim fights like his dad. Like if he goes forward, like
he does.
He just needs a ponytail, and then it'll be pretty.
He just doesn't have the power of his old man, mate. His old man had power. I think Nikita was blessed. Man. I think the younger brother was blessed with the power.
I still remember that Zab Judy fight I think it was in Las Vegas.
The OG stanky leg.
Yeah.
That was crazy, wasn't it?
And Zab Judah was supposed to be even better than Mayweather because he did better in the Olympics in '96 in Atlanta.
Yeah.
And he was scheduled to be because he was faster than Mayweather. And as it turned out, it kind of like ruined his career. That like, you know what I mean? Kind of like you would know this because he's Australian too. Victor Chinyan, when Nonito Donaire knocked him out, it kind of like ruined his career because Victor Chinyan was knocking everyone out at that time.
Yeah, man.
He was on the pound for pound list from memory. And then after that,
Nonito was the underdog in that fight. He was a massive underdog in that fight.
Oh, massive, man! Because already, Victor Chinyan beat Donaire's brother already.
Yeah.
Anyways, man. But Zab at least kind of recovered his career, like because he had a lot of big fights after that. Like he fought Miguel Cotto.
He became welterweight champion after that. I mean, he was undisputed, right?
Yeah, that's right. Against Corey Spinks. That was the best to me, that was the best ring entrance I have ever seen. When Corey Spinks came out with Nelly in St. Louis, to me, that was the best. The best. It was unbelievable.
Should Tim Zoo fans be a little bit nervous with this Tony Harrison opponent, or what do you think?
Yeah.
It's a tough fight.
Yeah, it is a tough fight. But you know what, man? Tim, one thing I give Tim credit for is he ducks nothing. He's not like any other fighter. He wants to smoke. He just wants his star to rise. And, mate, say what you want about the guy, but he takes the big fights and he just keeps marching forward, man. If he loses, he loses. But, shout out to him, man, because he's doing a lot better than a lot of these pussy fucking internet Instagram warriors do, mate. At least he signs the contract and makes the deal, man. Australians are the easiest motherfuckers to sign contracts for.
Yeah, true.
We love
fighters.
They don't duck any. Look at
fighters.
gotta give Kambosos.
Yeah,
I don't like
fight.
Kambosos that much, but I give him credit for taking tough fights.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Back to back.
Is he liked in Australia, or what's the general consensus on?
He's not real. See, the problem with George is he's got a bit of an identity crisis. He thinks he's Greek. He thinks he's Australian. So he's got a little bit of an identity crisis where he doesn't know which lane to choose. And I think a lot of diehard Aussies sort of, that they kind of went away. And when he did the rat and the snitch thing at the press conference, he lost a lot of people, man.
Yeah.
Because we all know what rats and snitches are. And he kind of lost.
He basically ratted himself, right? I mean,
Yeah,
you're calling someone
yeah.
else a rat, but you're ratting on yourself because he told you something, and now you're telling him what he told you. You're a rat. Like, what are you doing here?
You know, I think he had nothing for Devin in the shit talk game, where with Tio, it was all shit talk. Even the fathers were doing the shit talking.
Yeah.
I think Devin got in his head, man.
Yeah, I do too. And I think George being his first fight at home since 2015, I think that played a big part too. I think he was more worried about the marketing of the fight.
Yeah.
You know, I think he had a lot on his plate, and I think he should have had someone to deal with all that shit. And he just
It was a good
worried about
turnout actually, because when I was there, I heard that there was a football match as well at the same time that he fought, and he got 42,000. That's not bad. Pacquiao Margarita only got 52,000.
Yeah, but little Penny, they didn't.
Names.
That was the worst fight they could have marketed in Australia, in Australian history, mate. There was no advertisement. There was no marketing. You know, I saw him on the Footy Show a week before the fight, and I'm thinking, dude, they should be doing this 3 or 4 weeks out so people can book accommodation, people can get flights, people can get tickets. You know, like, it was really poorly marketed, mate, and they got no one to blame but themselves. But I'm telling you
they
now,
had 42,000. It's not bad.
Will fill any arena.
So you're saying they could have gotten more?
With George?
Yes.
Yeah, 100%, mate. It was terrible marketing. And I don't know what it is with boxing in Australia, bro, but every fight we have here seems to be marketed the same way, where we just don't know about it. It's only us diehards that actually know about the fights being on.
I do remember the Mundine Danny Green fight was really big.
Yeah, but you guys you guys have better fans than we do, though, over in the United States, because we have the worst fans here in the United States for boxing.
I got to agree, Joe. I got to agree. Some of the US fans are a little bit crazy, and they I don't know. As soon as their fighter takes an L, man, they drop them like they're hot, you know. And
yeah, it's the worst.
Where we sort of measure. Personally, myself, I don't measure a fighter by how many wins he has. I measure a fighter by if he takes an L, how he comes back from that L. Yeah, and gets his way back up to the top, you know, like.
I like Mayweather. I've got a picture frame of him behind me. He's next to Pacquiao, but I think a lot of these boxers who cherry pick the opponents and they don't want to lose it's from the Mayweather effect. He started all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I know there were a lot of fighters who kind of did it. Sugar Ray Leonard kind of did it a little bit, where the guy, I think Mike Tyson said this, like, if there was a rematch, he would wait until that guy gets bloated, and all of a sudden he'd announce the rematch, and that, you know, like. But the thing is, Mayweather did it, more frequently, to the point where he made it like a business plan or his blueprint, and it's carrying on. He carried that also to Tank Davis's career, and then some of these other fighters who look up to him, they copied his template. And I think that ruined, to me, in my personal opinion, it kind of ruined boxing because those guys, you're not Mayweather, man. Like I bought majority of Mayweather's fights because I like to watch him fight. All right,
Yeah, me too.
I fell asleep, especially the Mayweather Mosley fight. At the end, I fell asleep because I was thinking, oh man, this is boring, right? Same with the Baltimore fight. I also fell asleep, but I still kept buying his fight because he's Mayweather. But some of these guys who are copying him, dude, you're not Mayweather. Like Broner, for example.
The Maidana fights were fun to watch. The fight with Cotto was a good fight. He's had some good fights, but he also had some uneventful fights as well. So,
and there's too many.
But you know what I mean?
Like, too.
I think when you become the cash cow, you can move in a different way. Like you look at the way Canelo moves, you look at the way Mayweather moves. You more or less pick the fights that you want when you're the cash cow boxing. You know, you become the A side. I've never heard of this A side, B side until I started getting on YouTube. But when you're the A side, so to speak, and you're the cash cow, you move in a different way, and you basically pick whatever fights you want to pick. Certain fighters in the US, like I look at a Boots Ennis, the guy's had 30 fights and he's fought fucking no one, man.
I know.
yeah,
He fought a sea-level Karen, mate, and went the distance. And all that guy had was a little bit of footwork, and he had no pop, but he had a bit of footwork. And, you know, he was definitely on his bike, but I don't think he was like a Sandor Martin type runner. So,
Philly Irish, what up?
First of all, EAGLES, Eagles.
There you go. Everyone's happy, man. Their teams, everyone's got a team, man. And Eric's team's winning, your team's winning.
49ers.
I should have betted on the Bengals today. I told everybody the Bengals are going to win the AFC.
Yeah.
Man, you've been brave, man. Bills are good. They got a good quarterback too.
But here's the thing. I said they were going to win the AFC last year, and they won it.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, man, about this number thing. I don't really know who to believe, tell you the truth, because some networks do lie about financial things, like CNN does, Fox News does, and everything. Like, I can't particularly go by this guy's source and everything. But the thing about it is, there's one thing I do have to defend him on. He did put out his own numbers before a couple of times. He did on Twitter and everything.
He's always been wrong.
Yeah. But I look at it like this, man.
I think Dan Raphael put the DAZN numbers out, and then he just kind of copied Dan Raphael's numbers.
Yeah.
Dan was wrong too.
But I look at it like this, man. I thought the pay-per-view was a shitty pay-per-view because it's a bunch of tune-up fights, to be honest.
Yeah.
And it was a showcase event. It was a showcase event.
Yeah. If anybody's going to be putting money out for tune-up events, then the sport, the fans deserve what they get because they're stupid enough to put this money out every time this guy fights and everything. And that doesn't go to just Tank. It goes for other cars also. Like DAZN, they said that we're not going to have pay-per-view. What happens a couple years later, they have pay-per-view, and they expect you to pay the subscription plus an extra $60 or $70. They should have took more than $20 off the pay-per-view. They should take at least $30 or $40 off the pay-per-view, since you pay like $150 a year for it. But like, people are gonna say one thing and people are gonna say the other thing. But people that in his tweet called him a liar, I bet you half of them didn't even pay for that pay-per-view and streamed that shit. And that's,
but streaming is going to be a part of everything. Streaming's not going away, but there is going to be that group. There's going to be that block of people that are going to buy these pay-per-views.
Yeah.
Tank's consistently done around 200,000 pay-per-view buys. Yeah. He's got a decent following, and you got to look at keep it in context. Doing 200,000 pay-per-view buys, fighting a guy with all due respect like Hector Garcia is not bad. It's not bad at all. You know what I mean?
Joe, was that the official numbers, around 200,000?
They're in between 200 and 225,000-ish.
I've heard Rick Glazier say 61,000.
Yeah, he's a clown. That guy's don't believe anything that guy says. He's a clown.
Yeah, I don't believe
I believe Paramount. I believe Paramount Global, that's a multi-billion-dollar company that's publicly traded on the stock market. Than I do. Ask Rick Glazer the name of that lawyer who has a friend Listen to the story. I got a lawyer who knows somebody in the television industry. What does that even like? That's stupid. When you look at the boxing scene article, they actually put Paramount's name in that article as owning Paramount Global in that article
as a source,
as the owner of Showtime, as well as the owner of the website. They can't lie about They can't lie about financial numbers. It's
not like I caught a
It's
fish
a federal
this big.
offense. It's a federal offense.
Publicly traded company, mate. Exactly. It's a
Publicly traded company. They
So
can't lie
Beebs,
about
if it did 200,000, that's 15 million. The gate say, I don't know, let's say it did
No,
3 million.
it's 15 million. The gate did 5 million. It's a $20 million
That's
fight.
Man, that's pretty good.
It's not again. If the guaranteed purses for both fighters were 1.8 million, then even throw 500,000 there for the undercard. That's $2.3 million. $20 million.
BB, sorry, the 15 million, maybe let's say half of it goes to Showtime, right? So it's 7.5 plus the gate.
I'll give you the breakdown.
Yep.
So you take the $15 million, right? I'll explain to you how this works. So you got $15 million, right? 40% of that goes to the cable companies, right?
Showtime, yep.
That's that the cable companies get 40%. I'll explain.
Oh, right, yep. AOL
So that's $9 million, right? Left. Showtime as a distributor gets 10 million. 10% of that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Showtime's getting 900,000 of that, right?
Well, let's say $1 million. Just make it whole numbers.
All right, we'll make all numbers. So there's $8 million left right?
Mm-hmm.
So you take that $8 million. If Tank is getting like a 60% of that, right?
The gate too, Bees. You gotta add the gate as well.
Well, the promoters usually get the money from the gate mostly.
Okay.
But the fighters don't really get that much from the gate.
Yeah, but the venue gets a percentage of that too.
Yeah, the venue gets a percentage. The promoters get a percentage of the gate. So there's $8 million left, right? So so let's be conservative here. Let's say Tank's getting 50% of that $8 million, right? Then that's $4 million plus his 1.5 guarantee. So, I mean, that's still a good payday. Guy's making in between $4 and $5 million a fight to fight guys like Hector Garcia.
Right? Hey, why would you fight for belts? Why would you fight for belts?
That's what again. These guys are being incentivized to not fight tough fights.
Exactly.
So, I mean, I don't like it. But
certain fighters.
I understand
fighters. You got to have the fan base. You've got to have the fan base.
Now, is Devin Haney and Shakur Stevenson making $4 to $5 million a fight? No, they're probably making in the $3 million range, $2 to $3 million range, and they have to fight tougher guys. So you can say what you want about this guy. I don't like the guy personally. I don't think he's a good person. I don't like him, but I mean, he's making money doing what he's doing, whether I like the fights or not. And I'm the sucker. And I'm the sucker. And I'm the sucker that buys them all. So what am I?
But Bibbs, if he ups his competition a little bit, like say he fights, say Kambosos, right? Instead of getting 200, he might get like 350.
Yeah,
that's a lot.
Yeah,
that's a huge. That instead of getting 4 million, he now be getting 7 million.
Yeah,
and he can beat Kambosos, right?
I mean, again, 200,000 pay-per-view buys or 225, 250, whatever it is. They're still not Canelo numbers. They're still not AJ numbers, but it's still good numbers.
Yeah,
it's still good numbers when you look at who he's fighting for who he's
the
fighting.
risk that he take
And the risk he's taking.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's right. It's low risk, high reward, mate. Every fight.
Yeah.
Every
fight. Hey guys, what's next for Ryan Garcia? If he doesn't get that Tank Davis fight, who does Ryan Garcia fight next?
Little Penny.
Some other bum.
Little Penny, that fight's not happening. Don't even think about that fight.
Fight's dead in the water.
I know. But so who does Ryan Garcia then fight?
He ain't gonna fight nobody.
Who's Ryan Garcia gonna fight? Oh God.
Here's the thing, man. Ryan Garcia is just gonna weight bully somebody else to move up to 140, and that's it. Tank's gonna do the same thing. Like everybody should know this by now. This fight's not gonna happen. There's too much stuff going on.
The blueprint's out.
What about Barrios? What about Ryan Garcia versus Barrios at 140? I like that fight.
What is Barrios? Is he the gatekeeper of every division?
Yeah.
Is he the gatekeeper of every goddamn division? I mean, he was Keith Thurman's comeback fight after being beaten by a senior citizen who came out in a mobility scooter. And he went life and death with a blown up super lightweight. Like, you know, come on, let's keep it a buck here. Like, what type of Mario Barrios? God, that guy's name is in everyone's mouth.
But Thurman's fighting.
Beep, what do you?
No.
Go ahead. What were you gonna ask me? Go ahead.
What are your thoughts on Virgil Ortiz and a Boots Ennis type fight?
I love Virgil Ortiz,
Yeah.
and I like the way he's been moved. He's fighting very solid opposition. I don't know. I mean,
Facts.
I like Boots, and I was impressed by just the eye test, but I don't know if he's going to progress if he doesn't up his opposition. We saw Chris Eubanks Jr. yesterday. He got found out, and a big reason he got found out is because he's had a steady diet of just less than stellar opposition, and you don't get better that way. You just don't. If you're not forced to have to raise your game, then when you get put in a situation when you do have to raise your game, you're going to get found out. And he got found out.
Rashidi Ellis too, Bibbs.
Yeah, Rashidi Ellis got found out too.
Bibbs,
The problem I've got with Boots is coming to a stage in his career where he's going to have nowhere to hide, mate. He's going to have nowhere to hide. They're talking all this shit. He's the next generational talent. He's the new Roy Jones. Let me tell you, Roy Jones at 25 beat an undefeated James Toney. So let's keep that conversation.
You beat Hopkins before that.
But this guy,
that's right. He beat him.
Once again, this guy Boots Ennis is also being incentivized to not have to fight. He's getting $500,000 a fight. Fights twice a year.
Yeah.
It's $1 million a year to fight guys who have virtually
Bibbs,
no
what
chance
is
to
But he
win.
doesn't fight twice a year. He fights once a year. He fought 2 rounds in 2022.
That's correct. You're right. You're
Bibbs,
exactly
what
right.
if they fight each other, Virgil Ortiz and Boots Ennis? I think that will do well on pay-per-view. They'll probably do maybe 350 on pay-per-view. That's
I
pretty
don't
good.
know. Maybe.
I think it does good.
I
I
like
like the
Virgil
way-
Ortiz. I like Virgil
Yeah,
Ortiz.
I do too, man. I really rock with Virgil. He's a humble dude. He doesn't talk shit about anyone. When they ask him about fights, he says, "Yeah, I'd love that fight. I'd love that fight." He doesn't talk smack. Like,
Yeah,
he's just a very humble dude, man. And he's been moved in the right way. And this Stanionis fight, I think, is just another great step up for Virgil.
That's an
And I
awesome
think-
fight.
Yeah, and I think after that fight, man, if Virgil wins, should he win, I think he's ready for I don't know what Errol's doing, but I think he'd be ready for a Bud Crawford fight.
I think Errol is going up when he's fighting his next fight at 154. Supposedly, I don't think he's coming back down. I think he's staying
Yeah,
up
I
there.
agree. His body's
I don't
too
think it's-
big now.
I don't think he's coming back down.
Yeah.
I don't
Bibbs, have you heard
think he wants any part of Terrence Crawford. In my opinion, I just don't think he does.
Yeah, I agree too, Bibbs. I think he's
Yeah, I
not good.
agree. That's a crying shame. And you know
Yeah.
what? Both these guys will be remembered for that when they're past their use by date.
That negotiation between him and Bud, that was supposed to be easy because Bud, he was a free agent. Like, hey, dude, just give me what I
exactly.
deserve. Bud probably said, okay, give me 45%. You take 55. Let's just make the fight happen. Yeah.
I think Bud did everything possible to try to make that fight happen, and it just wasn't never going to happen because because Spence doesn't want it. Yeah, I don't think he wants that fight.
Yeah, and
I
don't forget, you're dealing with.
I think he thinks he can't beat him at 147, but 154 maybe because he's a bigger fight. He's a bigger man now.
I don't think he'll ever
You're
fight.
dealing with the cancer of boxing too, the PBC, which
I
makes
can't stand the
everything
PBC. I can't stand the PBC.
Bibbs, when the
Me
PBC first
Me either.
launched in 2016, and they had
15.
Thurman versus who was it? Thurman versus Guerrero, right, on NBC live, right? I thought, oh my God, this firm will now get to see the best the best fighting the best because
I was optimistic. I was extremely optimistic.
me
I was
too.
a big PBC defender back in the day.
Yeah, but Bibbs, I think they failed. They failed badly. And Bibbs, they were also, those NBC, CBS fights. They weren't for free, or CBS or NBC were giving them money. It was the other way around, right? So that we can see fights on mainstream TV. and I was optimistic like you. But now, fast forward 2022, I think Beefs they failed, and I wouldn't be surprised if they go out of business because some of these fighters.
I root for them to go out of business. I root for them to go out of business because then these other fighters will go to the zone or they'll go to Top Rank. They'll get spread around. The fighters will find a home. Believe me. And then you have a more higher likelihood of these good fights happening.
Yeah.
As soon as I don't like Al Heyman for boxing.
Yeah.
I think he's bad
looking
for
back. Looking back, Al Heyman maybe should have just stayed with Golden Boy with that sort of a structure because at that time, at least Golden Boy and Al Heyman were making good fights. You know, it wasn't the best, but at least it was that structure with HBO After Dark, then HBO World Championship Boxing, and then once you become a star, then
you know what we need? We need like what's just happened in golf with the PGA and the new Live tournament that's come out, where they're offering massive golfers massive money to just sign with their promotion. That's what boxing needs a shake up. They need to get rid of the PBC, which is a cancer to boxing. Yeah. It's like lung cancer, stage 3 lung cancer. It's about to kill itself. I really can't stand Al Heyman. I really hate the way PBC move their fighters. They keep everything in-house. They like having rematches. They like having, here's fight number 2. Wow.
Yeah, Kangaroo Kid, I don't mind in-house fights. Like when Pacquiao fought Marquez, that was an in-house fight. When Pacquiao fought Margarito, in-house fight.
If you've got the stable, you know what? If you've got the stable of fighters,
those fights were marquee fights, At least with PBC, you got so many fighters there. Fight each other.
Hey, what's going on with Josh Taylor and Jack Catterall? It's postponed again.
Oh, Josh Taylor's injured, I think. Didn't he?
Yeah, you heard his plantar fasciitis. You heard his foot.
Yeah.
Heard a tendon in his foot.
Oh, righto. All right. Oh, I thought he was struggling with weight or something. I'm thinking, oh man.
Some people are saying that he may very well be struggling with weight, and then they question that injury. I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna play conspiracy theorist. I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt.
I just think the way Josh threw those belts and said, "Jam the belts up your ass. I'm staying here, and I want the rematch."
I don't want the rematch.
Which belt does he still have, Penny? Does he still have the WBO? Is that the only? Is that? I think he has one left.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, there's one or two. Yeah, it is one because all the rest were vacant.
Probably WBA, Beebs.
I think he's only got the WBO.
Or WBA because Leah Santa Cruz Beebs still has the WBA 126 belt and he hasn't fought there for like 5 years, but he still has it.
Oh, that's crazy. That's crazy how the PBC and the WBA have this relationship, man. It's nuts.
Yeah, true. At least make it believable. Like the WBO and Top Rank, they have a relationship too. But at least it's believable, It's not obvious. With the WBA and PBC, it's so obvious.
Yeah, it's bad. It's bad. It's really bad.
And at least Top Rank know how to put a card on.
Yeah, they do. They do.
At least they
and
know
then Josh Taylor and Jack Catterall were at that fight yesterday, and they were going at it. They were like they were going at it.
Yeah.
I like that rematch, man. But Catterall has been waiting for this rematch for ages.
How's Liam Smith knocking him out in the 4th round, man? That just blew
my mind. I picked Eubank by KO, but Beast, I think you picked Smith to win, right?
No, I picked Eubank to win by a big knockout.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Eric was lying. He was teasing you, man. I didn't pick.
All right. I picked Eubank by KO too.
I didn't pick Smith.
Smith wasn't even a big puncher at 154. Now he's a killer at 160. What the hell's going on?
Oh, I mean, he's got one knockout at 160. Let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Has the drug test been out yet? I don't know, man. Let's.
Already stirring the pot, little Penny. Look at you.
Maybe it was
how would Conor Benn have gone against Chris Eubank Jr.?
It would have knocked them out. That was like catchweight too.
Dominic Ingle was on doing an interview today on YouTube, and they were talking about the Conor Benn thing about how the VADA samples were contaminated, and he was like just going over the whole protocol, saying when they do those samples, those jars are tight. It's like I don't know, man. The stuff they're coming out with now to kind of like to defend Conor Benn. it just doesn't make sense. I'm going to sit there and let the whole process play out, but I am highly skeptical that those
It's like
samples
days
would-
of our lives, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm highly skeptical on whether or not those samples were
Yeah, me
contaminated,
too.
man.
He's
I
got to
can't-
I
wait
think
for he's got to wait for the cycle to let the drugs get out of his system and then get tested again. Then he can recharge.
Hey, and you know what, Beeb? You know what? His piss probably melted the cup. That's probably how it fucking got contaminated.
Yeah, I something's fishy here, man.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy.
And it's
Hey, can I just get you guys to say a little prayer for Liam Wilson coming up to fight Emmanuel Navarrete? Liam Wonderboy Wilson's had 11 fights. He's about to get his ass handed to him and probably knocked out in the most vicious way he's ever felt a knockout in his life. So can I just get you guys to say a little prayer for him? Keep him in your thoughts because, yeah, I think Liam's bitten off a little bit more than he can chew here with this one.
Navarrete
What
is huge.
what about Anthony Yard next week, man? That's gonna be. Oh my God, that's
It'll be
gonna
exciting
be
though. It'll be an exciting fight.
People think Yard. I've seen been on channels, bro, where people are betting hundreds of dollars with other guys on these channels saying that Yard is going to knock out Beterbiev. I'm like,
Yeah,
what
there's a
fucking
there's
eye
a,
testing you?
oh my God, there's a lot. There's like what's his name there? Spencer Farron. He's really caping hard for Anthony Yard, and
But
he's like-
Beterbiev is there to be hit though. He's not like an elusive fighter.
yeah, but I think he's better defensively responsible than people give him credit for. He parries a lot of shots. He rolls shots. He doesn't catch a lot of shots flush. I think he's better than
and you
people
know-
give him credit for.
They say his age is a big factor, but he doesn't have a lot of ring miles on him.
No, he doesn't have a lot of miles on him in terms of.
He's old,
Yeah,
though.
he's not like a Canelo.
He hasn't
He's
suffered
old,
any
though. He's like
damage.
36.
No, he's 38.
Or
38.
He's
Okay.
old.
Yeah, but these Eastern European guys, man, they're wide different. They're wide, totally different. And yeah,
That
he's
is
got a
true.
Canadian citizenship, but
That is true.
let's keep it a buck here. He fought bears as a child. So
No, that's
Yeah.
Ruslan Provodnikov, dude. That's Ruslan.
yeah, I know, but I say the same for all of them, mate. They're wired differently over there. Like
They are,
they're
they are.
crazy.
Yeah, they are crazy.
I got Beterbiev by vicious knockout.
yeah, I
he's
see.
gonna- I think he's going to destroy him.
I actually had
It
Joe
will be
Smith
exciting
Jr.
while it lasts, though. It's you know what I mean. At least that's a fight that I'd watch.
Man, how he
Yeah.
dismantled Joe Smith Jr. was incredible.
I was shocked.
And
I picked Joe Smith Jr. to beat him.
Wow.
so did
really?
I. So did I.
I did. I was
Look at-
shocked.
That's a Dwyer
So did
pick,
I.
Beebs. That's a Richard Dwyer pick.
No,
Beebs.
Dwyer does B picks. I don't do Dwyer picks.
But you don't what do you call him? You don't straddle. What do you call it? Like
He
you hedge-
straddles everything, bro.
You-
You can't win if you straddle everything. What are you gonna do? What are you betting to break even? Why even gamble? It's ridiculous. He straddles every freaking pick, man.
Betting to break even. That's a good
Oh
one.
my God, it's crazy. But he's funny though, man.
He is
He's
funny.
funny. That guy. I like
He's
that.
the true
I
OG,
find him.
man.
I find him very entertaining. I like him actually.
Hey, Beebs, I was listening to him when Pacquiao fought Ricky Hatton in 2008. That's how far back Richard Dwyer
yeah.
is.
Yeah, he's
Yet
been
his
around.
videos haven't improved. It's still the same. Like he's using the same phone.
I
Like,
hate
he's
to
still
make. I
using-
hate to criticize the guy, but he has the most low budget videos of anyone.
I
on
know,
YouTube.
man.
He's
gonna
like
use,
he's like a lawyer. He's like a lawyer or something, and I'm like saying like you know, like, you would think a lawyer would be making decent money or whatever, but he's
Nah,
like
Beebs, he got
low-
divorced. That's why he got divorced and he got
Oh, did he?
cleaned out. Yeah,
Okay,
that's why.
are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but anyway, yeah. Oh man, like.
Look at Penny, man. He's dropping freaking dirt on Bob.
Hey, Beebs, what about the rematch? The rematch between Eubank Jr. and Liam Smith. Is that? I agree with you, Beebs. I think it's gonna be big because now
It'll
Liam
be-
Smith has a.
He's-
has
Eubank Jr. is done as a fighter, but he can still make
Yeah.
money, bro.
yeah, man.
Because now
Even
those
if the Conor
fights.
Ben fight is still out there too. Once
So
Ben,
here's the thing, man. That Liam Smith rematch would be gigantic now.
yeah, it will be huge because now the both because you usually it was Eubank was the clear A side, right? And he was the only one that was like talking.
I'm going to be honest, and I this is no disrespect to Liam Smith because I like Liam Smith a lot. I just did not think this fight was going to be competitive yesterday.
Yeah,
I did not anticipate
Yes.
that fight being one bit competitive. I just didn't.
Yes. I thought Eubank was too big, too strong for Liam Smith. And Liam Smith wasn't even a big puncher at 154, so he's now going up to 160.
And here's the thing. I had Eubank Jr. winning all 3 rounds. I thought he had a big 3rd round as well.
Yeah.
Started teeing off on him on the 3rd round.
Yeah. But Liam Smith asking for the rematch to be in Liverpool, I think that's too far fetched, man. Like, dude, you're not Amir Khan or even Kell Brook. Like, dude, that's got to be at a neutral site, man. Because he beat Eubank Jr., but Eubank Jr.'s got a name.
I'm going to be honest with you, man. After what he did yesterday, he could have that fight on the moon if he wants to. He deserves it.
But Eubank's not going to agree to a fight in Liverpool. That's his hometown. Like, you know.
Yeah, but I don't
he's
think
gonna get killed in
Eubank won the
Liverpool.
rematch.
Sorry?
I don't think Eubank's got anything for him in the rematch.
Liam Smith is going to be the fan favorite no matter where he fights him in the UK. Because you see that?
That's
You hear
true.
that crowd? You hear that crowd yesterday?
Yeah. But Liverpool and Manchester, they're quite close, man. That's like a half an hour train ride.
Liam Smith can do whatever he wants.
Hey, you know what? I know why Eubank Senior was worried about his son's life because he can't fight for shit.
So I brought this up during the show, Little Penny and Kangaroo. What do you guys do? Like he went through that full camp preparing for Conor Benn, and you know people can say what they want, but that extra 2 pounds, you know, meant something. I believe.
Oh yeah.
So do you think having to go through that camp and preparing to drain himself to 157 and having to deal with the rehydration clause and everything, so preparing himself for that, do you think that had any effect on him yesterday? Do you think it drained?
The weight probably.
No, I don't, because he fights really poorly. His hands were protecting his balls. I think his guard's all wrong. Roy Jones did nothing for him. He's not Roy Jones.
Yeah, but Kangaroo Kid, if you've seen, you probably have seen Eubank Jr. fights. Historically his chin has held up, right? Even against bigger punches. But now he fight. I'm not saying Liam Smith is a pillow fighter, but dude, for him to get knocked out like that, it has to be the weight. It has to be.
Liam Smith is a 50% has a 50% knockout ratio. He's a decent puncher, but he's not a killer.
Yeah.
He's not.
Yeah,
that fight may have to be. Look. If I was Eubank Jr., okay, if this fight is in your backyard at Liverpool, it has to be out of catchweight, 163 or something like that, because 160 is too much.
Yeah, I think Liam won the smack talk rounds, and I think he definitely won the rounds. And I don't know, man. I don't think Eubank wants that fight. I think he needs to reevaluate his whole career and maybe go and sell T-shirts or something.
I think his pride will. I don't think he can't go anywhere. He has to get this rematch over and done with.
What was bizarre to me was both him and Roy Jones said it yesterday. They were like, "Yeah, we want this rematch, whether it happens the next fight or somewhere down the road. We want this rematch." And I'm like, why wouldn't you want it right away? Like, are they gonna plan to give him like a comeback fight and then do the rematch, or like, I don't know, man. I don't know. Now they're talking about like maybe Kell Brook and Liam Smith.
Oh my God, Kell Brook is done, man.
Yeah, I don't want Kell Brook to fight Liam Smith right now.
No, Kell Brook is done, man. Kell Brook's got a beautiful wife as well, dude. Enjoy
his wife is really pretty, man. Kell Brook's wife,
dude. Enjoy. He's got money, man. He's a millionaire.
And Dominic Ingle said he wouldn't train him for that fight. He doesn't want him to fight him.
By the way, Beebs, speaking of money, Beebs, man, having $250,000 in a bank account, Beebs, you got to invest that, man. Inflation, dude.
I get 4% interest on that. I get 4.1% right now. I have a Fidelity mutual fund. So what happened? This is the strategy, brother. Right now, because the inflation is so bad, I'm getting 4.1% right now, right? So then when the economy gets better, then I shift that money back into the Fidelity. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
I have
Great
a
idea.
bottom. I have a bottom level that I keep in that Fidelity account.
Fidelity's good. I like Fidelity.
Yeah, I like Fidelity too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They're
but
good.
Beebs, you got no money. Remember that I saw you last live where you showed your bank balance.
Yeah, I mean, I got sick of people telling me I'm poor.
Beebs, to that guy's defense, his house was pretty good, man. Damn, that looked like a Miami beachfront
Oh, he was an
house.
excitable dude.
I hate to say it, could be rented, but that's not bad even if it's rented. It's not bad. It's not bad if it's rented because he's still
But
living
Beebs,
good.
didn't he say it wasn't rented? I thought he said it wasn't
I
rented.
mean,
I thought
people
he said
say
he
a lot
owned
of people say a lot of things. I mean,
it. Okay.
Hey, but
Alright.
the stairs, how nice were the stairs?
Yeah, and
I mean-
his cars too
Oh.
outside. The cars were like, damn, like they look.
yeah, he's got a
Possibly
good.
rented.
He does a podcast. He's got a pretty good studio that he does a podcast.
He does. Oh, okay, yeah.
I like
listened
that. I tease that guy a lot. He probably owns that house. I just mess with him.
Yeah.
But here's
he took the bait.
But here's a dead giveaway. He goes, this is what you have to pick up on, because I pick up on this. People telling themselves a lot. He goes, yeah, man, this is my house and it's not rented either. Why? No one said it was rented. Why'd you
say
drop
that?
that one? Why'd you say that?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it very well
Yeah.
could be rented. I'm not saying it is or it isn't. Either way, he's living good over there.
Yeah.
I don't
Beebs,
take nothing.
you
I don't
set
take.
the trap-
I don't
you
take
set
nothing
the
away
trap
from him.
beautifully. You
But
set
it's
the
gonna
trap
be
beautifully.
impartial though. You can't be like. You
Oh, he
can't
loves
just-
Tank. He loves Tank, man. Like
Yeah, look, Beebs, we all
that
have
was-
favorites. Like
that
Beebs,
was out of
I-
that was out of
Beebs-
control, man.
Yeah, Beebs, we all have favorites. So my favorite fighter is Donaire and Pacquiao, right? And I'm gonna defend them. But if they do something wrong, I'm gonna call it
Listen,
out.
I love Tyson Fury. I'm the biggest Tyson Fury fan on this planet. But again, when he tested positive for the PEDs, and then he said it was boar meat, I didn't believe him. The whole depression thing. I'm very skeptical of the whole depression thing.
Yeah,
I don't believe every word Tyson Fury says. He walked away from the sport. He was in the process of getting a provisional suspension because he was going to be investigated for the PEDs, whatever. There was a lot of things going on in his life, and I don't defend him for any of that stuff. He made his own bed. He had a lie in it. That's fine. I don't cape for fight. Sugar Ray Leonard. I'm the biggest Sugar Ray Leonard fan too. He's my favorite fighter of all time. Tyson Fury is my favorite heavyweight of all time. He's like my second favorite fighter of all time, Tyson Fury. But when Sugar Ray Leonard fought Donald Leon for 2 titles on the same night and made Donald Leon come down on 168 and made Donald Leon put his 175-pound title on the line, I thought that was bullshit. You should have just fought him for the 168-pound title. Why are you making the guy? That was a cheap way to win two titles.
and
in
Beebs,
one
not
night.
only that,
And
Beebs,
I love Leonard. I
Yeah.
interviewed Leonard. It was one of the highlights
Beebs,
of my
the
life.
rematch between him and Hearns, that should have been like maybe in. No, look, I know he had an eye injury and stuff, but Beebs, that rematch happened in '88, I think, from memory.
88, correct? Yeah.
Oh my God, they fought in '81.
Yes.
I think. Oh
Yes.
my! Like, come on, man! That rematch should have happened way earlier, and Hearns definitely wanted that rematch way earlier.
Yeah. And I thought Hearns won the fight.
Yes, he knocked him down twice, right?
Knocked him down twice.
Oh,
They gave
my
Leonard.
God.
They gave Leonard 2 10-8 rounds in that fight, and he
Oh
didn't,
my
and he didn't even
God.
get a. He didn't even get a knockdown. Now there was one round where he really did have Tommy Hearns hurt, but I don't know, man. I didn't score those rounds 10-8.
But I did think he won that Hagler fight, though. I did think. He
Oh,
won.
I had him winning the Hagler fight. I had him winning the Hagler fight 115 and 113. I thought he.
And
I
in
thought
his
he had.
prime, Beebs, at welterweight. Oh my God! Like the
That
way
was a great.
the way
He's
he
my-
beat. Tommy
He's my
Hearns.
favorite fighter. He's my favorite fighter of all time. I love the guy. But
Although
again,
Beebs,
But again, I'm impartial when I like again
Yeah.
I criticize fighters like
Beebs,
I'm
same with-
not gonna blindly have blind loyalty to anybody.
Yeah, Beebs. Even when at that time, now a lot of people actually like blame. Oh, not blame, but they were reconsidering my ethnicity. When people asked me back then in 2010 and 2011, who do you think would win, Pacquiao or Mayweather? I've always said it was Mayweather because he's just
Yeah.
quicker. He's quicker, and most counterpunchers, a great counterpuncher will always beat a great brawler, right? Like Pacquiao, always.
More often than not. More often.
Yeah,
than
yeah,
not.
more often than not, yeah. And like, look, but if they fought like back to back 5 times, Pacquiao's going to win probably one of those fights. Like, you know, if
this is why I love Ray Leonard, because he admitted he believes he lost the Hearns fight. And then when I interviewed him and we were talking about the Hagler fight, he goes, "Was it close? Yeah. Could it have gone either way? Yeah."
Yes.
Like he's one of the most honest fighters you're ever going to talk to, man. He's a real dude, bro.
Yeah, you don't hear that, do you? You don't
He's
hear
a
that.
real
from fighters.
dude. I love Ray
Yeah.
Leonard, man.
another guy who's honest is
Yeah,
Mike
me too,
Tyson.
man.
He'll give you honesty too.
Yeah, Mike Tyson's very honest.
Yeah.
He's very
Same
honest.
as Tim Witherspoon. Tim Witherspoon spoke about the last fights in his career. He said he fought for money. He needed the money. He needed the money.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Beebs,
And
sorry to be nostalgic, but you know when Leonard beat Hearns, he was the number 1 guy. In fact, he was probably the pound per pound number 1 at that time. But then for Duran to come up from 135 to 147 and beat Leonard, right? I was like, man, that is friggin' GOAT stuff, dude. Like, you know what? That's like kind of like, it's kind of like how do I say it? Like kind of like Canelo going to cruiserweight and say beating like a Coley, or maybe not a Coley. Say Usyk, if Usyk was still at cruiserweight.
What about a 37-year-old Roberto Duran beating Iran Barkley at 160? What a great win that was.
Didn't Barkley beat Hearns at middleweight before that?
Knocked him out. He beat him at middleweight and light heavyweight.
Damn.
He knocked him out. He knocked him out at middleweight, and he beat him. He won a decision at people don't realize like Iran Barkley was the champion at 160, 168, 175. He's a 3-division champion.
Beebs, take away the no mask fight. Duran is probably either number 2 or number 3 pound per pound the best. If you take away the no mask fight,
Mayweather like puts him like. I think Mayweather puts him number 1 on his pound for pound list.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah. Because he's already the greatest lightweight ever. He's the greatest lightweight ever, right? Like, for example, with Pacquiao, he may be the best super featherweight ever, maybe, right? But at least Duran.
No, I think Floyd's the best super featherweight ever at 130.
Yeah,
he had some great fights. He had some great fights at 130.
I don't think he has enough great fights though, because Pacquiao had like Barrera, he had Marquez, he had Morales there. Floyd at 130 only really had Castillo and what's his name?
Was Manfredi? Wasn't Manfredi at 132? And who else did he have?
But they aren't great. But like the 3 fighters that are
Gennaro Hernandez. That was a big victory.
Yeah, but he was washed up already, Beebs, because De La Hoya beat Gennaro Hernandez 3-4 years earlier. Remember? I'm talking about all-time greats here, Beebs, with Marquez, Barrera, and Morales.
Are you sure De La Hoya beat Gennaro Hernandez before Floyd did?
Yeah, he did. Yeah. It was for the WBC 130 fight. Yeah, but it was 3 years earlier. But Beebs, what I'm trying to say is, Gennaro Hernandez, Castillo, and who's that guy, Manfredi? They're not all-time greats. Pacquiao beat those guys who are all-time greats at 130.
Oh, you make a good point because Pacquiao fought Barrera at 130.
Yeah, he fought Marquez twice at 130. Yeah, and he fought. He fought once at 130, and then he fought and he destroyed Morales.
The guys Pacquiao beat at 130 are Hall of Famers.
Oh yeah, super Hall of Famers.
Was Gennaro Hernandez in the Hall of Fame? Castillo in the Hall of Fame? I have to go back and look at that. I don't think so.
Gennaro Hernandez is not in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I don't think Castillo's in the Hall of Fame either. Manfred.
And the way, Beebs,
you made a great argument today, Penny.
Beebs, Morales is no joke. Like Morales is probably the best 122 fighter ever, right? You
can argue that.
And he nearly beat Maidana at 140 with one eye, right? And he was washed up already. And and the way Pacquiao made Morales quit in the rematch and the way he destroyed him in a trilogy, right? To me, that's probably the best super featherweight fighter I have ever seen in terms of his opponent too. Now, he had a close fight against Marquez, right? But I thought he did enough. Like, Marquez is an all-time great, right?
Marquez was one of my favorite fighters of all time. I think he's in my top 5. Now, when
Yeah.
I say favorite fighters, that doesn't mean that obviously there's an argument. People can say they think other guys are better. When I take a look at fighters, it's who I like, who I not only just how great they were, but who I enjoyed watching and
Same.
who I actually liked all around. And I really love Marquez's style of boxing.
Dude, Marquez fought everybody.
He was a
fought,
great fighter. I
fought
really
Pacquiao
like.
at 126. He fought Chris John too at 126. Who was a killer.
Yeah.
Fought Pacquiao again at 130. He fought the lineal champ at 135 and Casamayor. He beat Juan Baby Bull Diaz, who was undefeated at that time. Then he fought Pacquiao again at 147. That guy fought everybody. I mean, he didn't duck anybody.
He's a good
He
puncher.
fought
too.
Barrera too at 130. The only fighter they didn't fight was Morales. That's the only thing that his resume is missing. The Morales fight.
Yeah.
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 Well, brother, I think I'm gonna go grab something to eat.
Man, I
Always a
gotta watch the
pleasure talking to
49ers,
you.
man. 49ers
Yeah,
are
you
playing
gotta
right
watch the 49ers, man.
Hey, man.
All right,
Hey,
man.
Beebs. No one's gonna stop Debo Samuels and McCaffrey and Ayuk and Juszczyk and Kittle all are in one night. They can probably stop maybe one of them, but not all of them. Not all of them. No way. Especially Debo Samuel. Have you seen Debo Samuel? Man, he's like Anquan Bolden with athleticism. Have you seen Debo? No one can tackle that guy. It's
You know all the sports, little Penny. And we got to get you a sports show.
Now to be honest, please, I only follow the 49ers. I don't really follow all the other.
Oh, okay.
It's only really the 49ers that I follow.
One team, that's it. All right.
Sorry?
I said one team, that's it.
Yeah, Beebs, I actually went to America just to watch the 49ers play. Was the Green Bay Packers. The first game, when they lost to the I can't remember who they lost to. Is when who's that guy who took a knee? What was his name again? Who's that?
Kaepernick.
Yeah, Kaepernick. Yeah, remember when they lost the Super Bowl? The
Yeah.
first game the next year that they played, it was at Candlestick Park against Green Bay Packers. I watched that game live.
Wow.
I actually, because I like the 49ers. And they got a lot of fans. Beeps. Remember when they fought against, they played against the Raiders in Las Vegas? They had more 49ers fans there than Raiders fans.
Wow.
Did you notice that?
It was a long time ago. I can't remember that.
No, it was like maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago. They've got
I'm not a big football fan, little Penny. I don't want to pretend
know.
I know what I'm talking about.
What's your sport? Boxing and what?
I like basketball.
Oh, yeah.
But I used to watch a lot of basketball like in the 80s and 90s when Jordan
same.
was in the league. Boy, I don't watch it. Like I watch basketball once in a while, but I don't watch that many sports except for boxing right now.
Yeah,
It's a
I don't
shame.
watch basketball either, too, because it's freaking boring.
I used to
I
love
can't watch it
basketball.
anymore, dude.
I still watch it.
even,
I still watch it, but it's like a 3-point shooting contest. now.
Yeah, Beebs. Even I can't even watch the highlights anymore of NBA, Beebs. Those
It's not the
10-minute
same.
highlights.
It's not the same.
Because it's just a 3-point contest, and it's like, dude, like they keep saying, oh, they're more athletic now, but they're not even using the athleticism. Like, you know what I mean, Beebs? They're just shooting three.
Just shooting now. Just shooting.
Yeah,
Game's
anyway.
different. Game's different. All right, brother. I'll see you. Have a
All
good
right,
one,
Beebs.
man.
Okay, thanks. Bye.
All right, man. Guys, I'm going to sign off, man. Thank you all for joining me today. And make sure you check us out. Roundtable, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, Thursday. We putting a nice panel together, and I'll be going live this Thursday. And as always, check us out on the Ringside Reporter podcast, 6 p.m. Eastern Time every Sunday. But next week, we are going to be having our 11 a.m. start once again due to the football playoffs. But we'll catch up, guys. Have a good one, man. Stay safe. Take care, everyone.